because the Mevo said it didn't want to continue after an hour. Like, it totally turned off. So I apologize. We may have this. Are we still here at 63, 67? Are you the same caller?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm still here.
Ooh, I don't want to tell you. I don't want to tell you to start over, child. We can.
I mean, no, I'm sure the point is everybody needs to go and get that book. Like that book, because actually, to be honest, I listened to his book and I listened to Sissy Houston's book. Because you know, Sissy can kind of come off. I always thought she was kind of like a cold bitch.
Uh-huh.
But when I read her book, there were similarities between her and Bobbi's book, which I found very interesting. It was similarities. And also it made me understand why she was so cold or came off so cold.
Uh-huh.
And just a lot of the issues, like those two, like I said, I'm telling everybody to read Bobbi Brown's book. It's that good. And
I
just
think
like the car that he crashed, it was in Whitney's name, but Bobbi had bought the car. And I don't understand why people, you know, you had some people that were upset about him coming out and saying something. I'm looking like, if you pay attention, it's Whitney's family that have been putting out all these documentaries, number one. Bobbi never really defended himself. And it's like now that he chose to defend himself, now people want to have a problem with it. Also, when it comes to the being Bobbi Brown, if you actually go and look at the series, like from beginning to end, there were times when Whitney was being a bitch. Because if you pay attention, he would be trying to appease her.
Right.
You know, it was like she was getting upset at certain things. You can see, if you, especially after you read his book, you'll see exactly when he was trying to be nice, or how in the book he talked about how Whitney slowly but surely turned Bobbi Christie against him. If you go watch the damn series, you will see where she was doing that on the show.
Okay.
So my point is, but the story should have been a movie. It was a lot that they left out, and I feel like it was so important for them to have done it well because of the fact that he has gotten such a bad rap. Now, of course, he was not an angel.
Right.
But the book was way more detailed. And like I said, my point is, everybody go get that book. It was that
Every Little Step. Every Little Step on Amazon, y'all.
It's called Every Little Step, but I advise people to actually get the Audible version because he actually reads the book himself.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much,
so that's all I wanted.
And thank you for being so patient during my technical difficulty. I appreciate it.
No, it's okay. Bye, Michelle.
All right. Bye-bye. Caller 7401, you are on the line. Thank you so much for holding patiently.
Hi, Michelle. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you? Who am I speaking with?
Nisha from Michigan.
Hi, Nisha.
You had technical difficulties for a minute. But
yeah, I'm back. I'm back.
Through now.
The camera only runs for an hour.
Series, or the two-part series. I agree with the other caller. Like, I feel he should have a chance to tell his side of the story. You know, I mean, everybody else had. You know.
You're right. You're right, and I'm glad he did. I mean, it was an interesting, just to see his perspective. Like, either, having Whitney's side of the story, Bobbi, Kristina, whoever's side of the story. At least we know, the truth lies somewhere in the middle of everything. So, and I don't think any of the stories were too, far off from the other. So, I'm good with that.
Quick question: did you enjoy the Greenleaf premiere?
I did. The thing is, with Greenleaf, I have a whole season that I'm missing. And so I did watch episode 1. I watched episode 2 simply because of the cliffhanger for episode 1. The whole, I can't even remember what happened. The pastor, almost sleeping with Latoya looking all that. I don't even know the characters no more. So I got to go back and watch the whole season 2 so I can get caught up. And I haven't had a chance to do it yet. But I did.
What did they allow y'all to see at the actual premiere?
We watched the entire premiere episode, part 1 of season 3.
Oh, just part 1.
Yep.
Were you allowed to meet the actors afterwards, or it was just...
We met the actors afterwards, and there was a Q&A and a meet and greet. And I put it, it's actually on this channel. I believe if you go back like a few videos, the actors all talked about, their roles and what to expect in the season and all of that. It was pretty interesting.
How do they pick you to get invited to, how do they pick certain media to get invited to all that? Because you always get invited to all of that.
I'm always on the list, child. It's just up to me to decide when I want to go. I've been blogging for 10 years. I'm on everybody's list.
Right.
But I appreciate your call. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for answering.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Caller 9740, you are on the line.
Hey, Michelle.
Hey, who am I speaking with?
This is Black Mirror from Georgia.
Hey, Black Mirror. What did you think about?
I like part 1 more than part 2.
Oh, you did?
And part 2 was expected. Everything that I saw, it seemed like it was expected.
Yeah.
And with what I'm more interested in is Robin telling her story. He would say both sides of everything.
You think so? I don't know. I don't think Robin would tell both sides. I think Robin would be speaking from the perspective of a scorned lover almost. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think she would be fair to Whitney or Bobbi. But, I mean, it would be interesting to hear her side, though. I'm not saying that. But I don't know if her side...
I believe she would tell both sides, meaning as far as the family goes, as far as Whitney's family and Bobbi's family, on what Whitney shared with her privately.
Okay.
And some of those things will come out. And I know a lot of people feel like, oh, let her rest and et cetera, but I don't feel like the people will totally rest unless that all came out. And I believe Bobbi was right, or whomever produced this, about the no one hated Bobbi until he got with Whitney.
I would have to disagree with that. Remember when the whole New Edition thing, Bobbi was always the bad boy. And I'm not saying people hated him, but everybody knew Bobbi as the womanizer, the drunkard, the druggie. That's why they kicked him out the group. He would never show up for practice. He was always doing something else. And that's why, he ended up going solo, because he was still in the same, tied in the contract. But they didn't want him in the group because he was, he wouldn't show up. So I don't know that that's true or not, as far as, him becoming unlikable because of Whitney. I think he became more unlikable because her image was so pristine. But yeah, I don't know.
And that's what the only part that I liked about, I think it was part 1. But when they show Bobbi walking in, seeing Whitney do the drugs or whatever, but everyone is saying that, she was all into the drugs way before Bobbi because of the previous relationship she had. And Whitney was a Leo. No one was going to tell her what to do, when to do it, how to do it. If she had it set in her mind, this is what she was going to do. And just watching that show and just watching her over the years, just period. Just think about yourself. Honestly, you're not going to let somebody sway you to do something you don't really want to do.
True.
And that was Whitney, and it portrayed last night. It was like point blank period. This is me. I run this. I'm a Leo. I'm taking charge. You listen to me. You bow down to me. Even though some Leos don't want to admit that, that's how we are.
Well, I do agree.
And that's the truth.
Yeah. I didn't know Whitney was a Leo. When is Whitney's birthday?
August 9th.
Okay. All right. Now I know. Wow. Well, thank you so much.
And we have addictive spirits, meaning when we get into something, we are full in, just like you're full in onto everything that you do.
Mm-hmm.
She was full in. That's why I never mess with drugs ever.
I know that's
because
right.
never.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I drink enough wine, but
I've always been afraid of drugs. Like, I be around a whole bunch of druggies, but I've always been afraid of drugs because, you know, I see what it does to people, and it's just scary. But
exactly. It just don't even make sense. But I just wanted to call and say that I never believed that Bobbi was a reason, but I feel that a lot of people swayed it to be he was a reason. And I'm glad that part came out somewhat. Yeah. But I believe Robin will shed more light on both sides of what really happened and what Whitney really felt.
Right.
That's all I wanted to say.
All right. Well, thank you so much for calling. I appreciate you.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Caller 4565, you are on the line.
Hey, Michelle, this is Jay again.
Uh-oh, Jay, you got some more notes.
I hear everybody calling me in talking about part 2, but no one is really just like breaking it down and summarizing it. Everybody is more focused on either like the money.
Well, I kind of broke it down at the beginning. You can break it down some more for me.
Okay. So, I guess in the beginning, when he crashed the Ferrari in 1986, and then he had that stroke when I guess in the kitchen, I didn't like the way they played Whitney in that part either, because I'm pretty sure she had more common sense to know that, you know, he had a stroke or he needed help.
How'd she know? She was high as hell. How would she know? And she saw he was still breathing. Like, first of all, we'll never know what happened in that scene in real life because the only two people there were Whitney and Bobbi. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, Whitney's gone and Bobbi was knocked out. So how we know that happened? True, you know, sure it was a dramatization. But, you know, she was a crackhead. He probably laid there for hours. Who knows what happened? You know, it's interesting.
All right. And then he went to jail, and then that's when he had some withdrawals. And then when he got out of jail, Whitney was trying to get him to start back.
But did you see that old white devil who tried to get him back on drugs in jail? I don't even call him a white devil. Tried to get him back on drugs in jail? Like while the black man was trying to keep him off?
And his roommate was just looking like, you got a choice, you know?
Mm-hmm. I thought that was a good...
I'm like, look how the devil works.
That is. Then, I mean, he stood strong.
Let me see. He, I guess that's when he asked his brother to manage him again.
Uh-huh.
And we talked about when he got arrested for the speeding ticket.
And I think he probably would have stayed clean. Look, you skipping over the part where Whitney met him to pick him up. And he was talking about he was hungry, and she was like, "I know what you're hungry for," and she pulled that cocaine out of her pocket.
Oh yeah. I said when he got out of jail, Whitney wanted him to start back using drugs again,
and he didn't want her to. It was several times in the show that I noticed personally that he kept saying, you know, you promised you would stop. I'm clean. Let's get clean. We gonna get clean. You know, it was two or three times.
When he had the stroke, when he had the stroke in the kitchen,
right?
She was saying, "Oh my gosh, no more drugs. We done with drugs." And when he woke up out of his coma, he said, "No more drugs."
Right. Right.
And then remember when, I guess, the day before he had a show, they had that argument, and then the next day, I guess he was high or drunk or whatever, and she helped him out in a car with his brother, and he came back in. I guess he forgot his...
Oh, when she was sneaking the man in.
He beat up the drug dealer.
But we don't even know if that was the drug dealer or not. I mean, he assumed it was the drug dealer, but she never confirmed or denied who it was. He just said, you know, either you slanging dick or slanging dope. Like, he don't know. He didn't know which one it was. It was good. Like, Whitney was sneaking men in the house when she knew Bobbi was leaving. Somebody said that was Ray J. Was it Ray J? Jazzy Bell said it was Ray J.
What'd you say?
Jazzy Bell said it was Ray J.
Hey, because he did have a thing with Ray J, but we'll get to that. So that's when he told his brother, you know, he was done, and then because he came back home and Whitney was gone. So he said he had a feeling she was in L.A., and that's when he met Alicia.
He did. He got locked up after that because when he beat up the drug dealer / slanging dick man, he made a mistake and hit Whitney. Allegedly made a mistake. And even though she didn't press charges because he hit her, it was a violation of his probation. So he had to serve time for that. Like, it was one thing after the other. He was always violating his probation.
Right. I'm like, and then when he introduced her to his kids, and his daughter was like, "It's been 6 months, and you want us to act like she's, family."
Oh, when he introduced Alicia to LaPrincia and Landon and Bobby Jr. Yeah.
Right. And when he had, I guess, gave the speech and saying, how he was trying to become a better person, he's working now, and he's trying to become a better father, I'm like, okay, look at Bobby Brown.
Well, I mean, again, like I said, Alicia was one of the co-writers, so she was responsible for Bobby changing his ways and leaving that toxic relationship and getting off drugs. So, now he's a wholesome family man. All he does is make barbecue sauce and stuff and tour.
They already had that chemistry, him and Alicia, before, I guess, she came to his show and he asked for her number. Because when she came back on stage after the show, you could just tell by the way the two actors was communicating,
Right.
I'm like, okay, I guess they ain't gonna tell that story though.
Well, it's interesting.
Side chicks do become main chicks.
They do. They do. Well, thank you so much, Jay, for calling back and with your notes.
And then, hold on. So, when she showed up to his mom's funeral, or I guess when he didn't know what a lug wrench was, I guess nobody peeked it when his dad was coughing. He was coughing up blood.
Oh, okay. You was detailed. I didn't catch that. Yeah. The only thing I caught during that scene was the shade between Whitney and Alicia. Because Whitney was doing little stuff to Alicia, they sat on the front row with the family while Alicia and Bobby sat on the behind the father. Whitney got up and spoke. Alicia didn't get up and speak, and she said, "This my mother-in-law. She will always be my mother-in-law." Emphasis on the my.
Whitney is a legendary shade queen, so it was expected to come.
Yeah. Well.
And then the scene where he showed up at the hospital for his mom when she passed, I feel like that was bad. And I feel like they didn't tell the time that passed between
the mom and the dad.
Whitney's funeral and the meeting that he had with his daughter in the restaurant, because remember, it was important, it was over 2 years.
It was 2 years.
After the met. So, what happened between that time?
Bobbi Kristina was up here going crazy, living with Nick, because right after Whitney passed away, she was living with Nick in Whitney's townhouse for a long time until she got her own place. So Nick,
Bobby was doing reality shows because he was on, I guess, Biggest Loser at that time, and I think he had a DUI at that time too.
Yeah, Bobbi Kristina was. I think honestly, Bobbi Kristina was trying to live her life with Nick, and they were pretending to be married, and all that. It was a lot going on during that time. There was a whole lot going on with her.
You remember that singer that got into it with Whitney the day before she died? I think her name was Stacey something. She was on R&B Divas.
Stacey Francis, yes.
And that ruined her career. That ruined her career.
That ain't the only thing that ruined her career. Stacey Francis had a baby by Jamal Bryant, I think, one of the preachers. Yeah.
But when she came on R&B Divas LA, she said it almost run her career.
And they were fighting over Ray J that night.
UK. And then, she came on Celebrity Big Brother UK with Ray J, and they was trying to get him to talk about it, and it was like a big old fiasco.
All right, Jay, we off the subject now. We ain't talking about Stacey Francis. We talking about Bobby Brown.
Okay. Well, that's it for the thing.
Oh,
I just have to do my review because people... They kept skipping over everything.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jay, for taking notes for us. I appreciate you because I be skipping a whole lot. But I would let you keep talking. We got one more call. I appreciate you.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye. Caller 8811, you're on the line.
Hey, Michelle. This is Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
I got a question for you.
Uh-oh, yes.
Have you ever thought about the fact that just maybe Whitney gave birth to a child addicted to drugs? Because I always thought Bobbi Kristina was a little strange. What do you think?
Maybe, I don't know that she was addicted to drugs. What I think happened throughout the course of their relationship is that Whitney allowed her to do a lot of things around her because Whitney was high as hell. Like, you know, even in part 2, when Bobbi met with her, remember when Bobbi Kristina was grabbing a cigarette and all of that. So it was well known that she would smoke around her mom. And so, and some people were saying that she would smoke weed. Like her and Nick, I think Nick Gordon even said they would smoke weed with Whitney. So if they were doing all that, they were probably doing a lot of things. And if you think about, I think about, coming up when we were watching Being Bobby Brown, and how Bobbi Kristina was such a chubby little girl, and how it seemed like a year later she was this skinny. And I know, children grow up and stuff, but I think she might have been doing all kind of stuff with her mom in that house. Who knows what happened?
Yeah. I always know, because you were Whitney the same age when she was still alive. And all the concerts I used to go to Whitney Houston, she was always high as hell on that damn stage.
Always. And I know the tabloids, the blogs, everybody, they used to tear her up. And that was an interesting dynamic for me to see how she was always, focused on what people were saying about her, trying to look a certain way and be a certain way, because throughout her entire career, she was made to be this pristine creature, but you on drugs and it's only so much you can hide. You know what I mean? So
you can't hide everything, and I know you can't hide that. You could tell that when she performed.
Yeah. I remember remember that time she forgot her lyrics and stuff on stage and got booed. It was all kind of stuff going on with Whitney.
Did you ever see when she would first come on the stage, she would already be sweating like crazy? I'm like, how the hell are you sweating? You done nothing yet.
She was always sweating, like wherever, in the club, just walking into the club, walking out, like it was pretty bad, but God rest her soul. Well, thank you so much for calling. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Well, you guys, this concludes tonight's live stream. I appreciate you tuning in to discuss part 2 of the Bobbi Brown story. If you missed part 1, it's over on the other channel. Part 2, if you've missed the episode, both of the full episodes are available on straightfromtheA.com if you care to read them, as well as the recaps. Also, thank you, Zills, for moderating. Thank you to all the calls who called in. And if you haven't already liked this video, subscribe to the channel, and I will be back with a more hopefully intriguing topics. Oh, and we have merchandise, but I will put that link down below. But for those of you who are here, teespring.com/stores ATLien, and get your ATLien shirts, super chat shirts, and all of that jazz. Thank you so much. I will see y'all a little later. Bye, you guys. You said big head Zills.